Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert with the Ted Show, albeit a little bit late. We had some technical difficulties, but the amazing Chitra Lele is with us today, and she has been very patient. She is all the way somewhere 6 hours ahead of me. And I'm just very blessed for her patience, and I'm very excited to have her on the show. I love the topic. I love anything that talks about collaboration and digging deeper and dynamics. She is a blogger, an author, a speaker. She does amazing things all over the world. And we're very blessed to have her on. Welcome.
Thank you so much. That was a great introduction, but I don't even live half up to that introduction.
You do. You do so much more. You do so much more. My audience, you don't have a Facebook presence, and part of us, we're on LinkedIn, of course, too, but part of us, part of the people here will be from Facebook. So share with them, give them an origin about you, tell us a little bit about you, your journey, and then we can take a deep dive into the dynamics of a culture of care and collaboration.
Right. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm a huge fan of yours and your show.
You're a blessing. Thank you.
And a big hi to our combined networks. And thanks everyone for tuning in. So basically, I started my inner quest and corporate journey at a very young age, almost 9 years ago when I was 18 years old. I went through a very deep spiritual personal crisis. And during that process, I tapped into my inner side, the sublime side of my existence. During those 4 years of deep depression, I realized that the only way to heal myself at the deepest level is through my own self. The external world probably will provide me with temporary relief. Transitory medical modalities did work for some time, but then I had to look within to heal myself from that deep spiritual personal crisis that I was going through. And during that process, while I was studying, I was doing my engineering, I also started writing books on personal transformation, spirituality, books on business management combined with spirituality. And that's how my spiritual journey also started off, along with my engineering and my business journey. And 3 years ago, I got placed through my campus recruitment drive in the Silicon Valley, the heart hub of the IT field. And within the first 1 month itself, I understood that I won't be able to work in this, hardcore clinical hierarchy-based corporate structure because there are so many corrupt practices going on uh, behind those closed doors. So I came up with this ecosystem, entire manifesto, a huge document containing optimized business processes, team practices, and I said I need to present this to the higher ups because I need the buy-in from the higher ups. But I didn't know the other side of the equation because I was just a young, engineering pass out. So I didn't know what was the other side of the equation, the hidden equation, that the higher ups themselves didn't want to, sort of change the system because they had introduced this faulty system to sort of suit their own personal agendas. And after I presented that document to them, I was blacklisted. They didn't like me
So
at
you were
all.
kind of like Jerry Maguire, if you know that movie.
Oh yes, I've seen that movie, but I don't remember the storyline. But
You had the manifesto and then got blackballed.
Right. Somewhat on similar lines, exactly. Because when you stand up against the truth, you don't have anybody, along with you or behind you. You are all alone. So that's what happened to me in the Silicon Valley, and that's how I had already started applying for my higher studies during that period because I was really fed up of the corporate world, the typical corporate world. And I was also thinking of starting up my own startup firm in the software field, which is which is based on ethically aligned design principles. So these are principles which are actually supposed to be followed by each and every company in the IT field. They are stipulated by the IEEE, which is an international standards organization which has these protocols and best practices that you need to follow in your company. But most companies in the IT field completely overlook these protocols, standards, practices. So myself,
why was it? Let me ask you, Trevor, why was it important for you to create the manifesto? Was it cathartic? Was it healing? Was it something that you just had to birth? You had to get it out. What was the impetus behind it? I mean, all of us get upset at work or life, but we all don't write a manifesto.
Right. No, actually, what happened is during the induction period itself, I knew that you have to follow a certain set of protocols, A to Z, and that's it. You cannot express your creative side. You cannot give in inputs that will sort of make the processes better optimized, not only for the business entity but also for the end users, the customers. So I felt stifled right from the first week of my induction itself. I was not even on a project, live project at that point in time. I was just on a training project. So we were not allowed to open our mouths. We were not allowed to raise any issues. We were not allowed to express our opinions. And
Wow.
that's when yeah. And this is something that does not sit well with me. I feel that everybody should be given a chance to share their unique skill set, because everybody has a set of skills, knowledge, experiences which are unique to them. And if you allow them to bring their complete self to the table, you can come up with, you can come up with brilliant solutions, optimized solutions.
What were your skills that you felt like people weren't listening to? What were your skills that you felt like people weren't accepting or acknowledging, or you weren't able to develop?
Yeah, the most important skill that I have honed over the last 6 7 years, all thanks to my meditation and mindful awareness, is the skill of objective observation and as well as creative thinking or divergent thinking. See, in any field, if you have a business problem, you definitely have 10 different solutions, but out of those 10 different solutions, there's one solution which is the most optimum solution. So I always go with the most optimum solution. So what I saw in the induction project itself, it was a pilot project for a client that we were working for. Our project manager instructed us directly that you write tens of thousands of lines. So the more the number of lines, that's how you charge the client more. The number of lines also are counted when you charge your clients. And this was very unethical. It's an unethical practice. You can write the same, you can solve the same problem with 100 lines instead of 10,000 lines. That was the first clash that I had with my project manager and his associates.
So
So
he was thinking very one-sided, one-dimensional, and you were
right,
trying to break him out of that.
right. And no, and moreover, these are all business tactics to earn more from the customers. There are lots of hidden costs, lots of overrun costs, which are already known to us, but we don't share it with the customers. And this is very unethical. It doesn't sit well with me. So that is one another aspect that I had brought up in the team meetings, and that's when they started understanding the entire workflow, that this lady, this girl won't sit well with us. She will definitely cause us problems in the future. And that's how I was slowly and steadily blacklisted. I was harassed day in and day out, cubicle chaos, peer pressure, office politics. But I was somehow cool because I knew that if this is not going to work out, I will work out things for myself anyways.
So talk about collaboration. You've got the title, which I love, The Deeper Dynamics of a Culture of Care and Collaboration. I love
Right.
everything about that.
Same
So
here.
I want to take a deep dive because I think people, culture is a big buzzword right now,
Right.
environment, culture at your workplace, especially. But collaboration is where people are finally, I think, seeing because of COVID that you've
Right.
got to collaborate if you want to move to the next step in this world. So let's take the deep dive. Why is care and collaboration such an important thing to be part of your culture?
Right. See, let me just share a brief background to this particular aspect of life. What happens is when we talk about a culture of care and collaboration, it is directly related to your inner spark, which is embedded in your heart hub. It's like it represents the source energy which beats to the tune of compassion, care, truth, wisdom, and so many other gracious gifts. So once you start unfolding these gracious gifts, then this culture of care and collaboration starts to take shape and form. It gains momentum. See, most of the times when we talk about teams, be it in the corporate workplace or any other institution or entity, they don't succeed not because they are lacking in something. Probably there are other reasons, like not great team dynamics or lack of best practices. But the main problem is there's a lack of spiritual direction. There's a lack of spiritual mindset, and that is why they get into conflicts, they get into the blame game, they get into peer pressure, office politics, cubicle chaos, instead of focusing on the problem, instead of pulling in their collective knowledge resources together and trying to find the optimum solution, and taking mutual responsibility for both the outcomes, success and failure, they are operating from a fragmented self, from the headspace. So you need to have both your headspace and your heart hub in sync.
How
Logic,
do you do
analysis.
that though? Most people don't. Most people will tell you, well, that's too much of a struggle, or I'm just going to do it my way and not worry about collaboration, or I've already tried to give management an idea of what I think is good and they don't listen, so I'm just going to give up. How do you get past that?
Okay. Now, see, when you talk about typical hierarchy-based structure, control and command, what is happening is the control and command is flowing from the higher ups towards the lower levels. If you introduce, say, 15 minutes of meditation or me time in the workplace or whatever setting that you are operating in, even 15 minutes of me time, including the top management tier, what happens is this helps you to create a greater work life balance, and it helps you to have a better performance level, performance index. The overall productivity improves. The employees are able to realize their fullest potential because you're not allowing the employees to connect to their inner self in the workplace. Everybody has this aspect, everybody knows about it, but just that you don't give them the right time and the right space. Like for example, in my small software firm, we have a very small, it's a small setup, but we have a small space designated for this me time, 15 minutes of me time. Anytime you can do it over the day, anytime during the coffee break, lunch break. But it helps us to reconnect with the inner self, and we then bring this entire inner self, the complete self, a creative expression to the workplace. And when everybody is operating at the same frequency, then everybody gives each other a chance to hear them out, you know, I mean, your ideas,
Agreed.
your, yeah.
I think
Secondly,
collaboration is, a lot of people have been afraid of that word because they feel like they don't want to collaborate with people who they view as competitive or they view as potentially threatening. And
right,
I want to empower people. That's why I love this topic. Collaboration is the key and an easier way for you to get to where you want to go than just doing it on your own. People have
exactly,
great ideas. Not everybody is a bad human being, so stop thinking like that and
right,
realize that collaboration can be a key to you exponentially growing versus you just doing it all on your own. But you can't stay in places that don't have a culture of care. So give us a little definition of what care means to you when you're
right,
talking about that.
right. See, when we talk about the phrase by benefiting others, we benefit ourselves, it represents the idea of interconnection. So, you know, this is a part of the team culture of care and collaboration. So, this is where a spiritual mindset comes into picture. The mindset is all about promoting social bonding, trust, cooperation, care, and it's all about collaborative leadership as well. See, and it directly maps to energy sharing dynamics, because when you talk about energy, I'm talking about collective knowledge, collective leadership, a positive support system in terms of counseling, mentoring, rewards, broader assignments, recognition. These are very important factors for bringing up the wellness factor in the workplace. Another important aspect that you can, you know, think of when you talk about care, for example, one of your teammates or batchmates is missing from action. Say on Monday they were not present for the team meeting. So instead of just assuming that they're not well and carrying out your regular activities, what you can do is you can set aside some time, give them a call or leave them a message with their relatives, or set up a prayer group on social media, or you can also post a tweet, you know, so get well soon tweet on Twitter. Anyways, we are using social media for building our brands, for building our businesses. Might as well use the social media platforms for building our care quotient, right? We already have
Agreed.
these, right? We already have these tools at our disposal. Secondly, when you talk about care, you talk about care not just in terms of words. You know, compassion and care has to be an act of kindness. For example, today I have helped an employee, my co-worker, because she's not well. I've taken up her work, her or his work, and I've completed their work for the day. Sometime next month, if I'm not well, they'll pay back. You know,
Right.
it's yeah, you're exchanging energy in this form, you know, by helping each other out. Another way of taking care of each other in a holistic manner, which we have implemented in our small software startup, is by sharing tales of transformation, personal transformation. So when you talk about personal transformation in the workplace, you're acknowledging the fact that each one of us is much more than an economic slave. We are much more than our head and hands. We are spiritual beings having a heart and spirit. We operate from both our head space and heart hub. So emotional expression, when it's honored by everybody in the team, then
Yes.
everybody puts up a brilliant corporate show. And if this flows from the higher ups, it's all the more better, because when you see your higher ups doing acts of compassion, kindness, then you too are, sort of encouraged to follow their footsteps and pay it forward in some form or the other. So these are
So
some
what's
aspects.
next? What's next for you? I love this. I hope that you continue on this journey because I love anything that's about the culture and care and collaboration.
Right.
The three C's. What's next for you? What do you want to do? You have your blog. You want to do speaking engagements, and I think it's super important the message that you're trying to get out.
Right. See, if you see on the outer level, my role as a software engineer and as a software engineering student is a limited role, because through my work, through my software projects, which are based on ethically aligned design principles, I'm only able to impact the clients that I'm working with. I enjoy my role as a software engineer, no doubt. I love my profession. But my passion of writing academic books and my purpose, which revolves around social transformation and world peace, I'm able to, reach out to a wider audience, in terms of impacting them in terms of transforming their lives for the better, and in terms of helping them to tap into their own innate powerhouse of positive energy.
I love
I'm just trying to help people to understand that it's within you. You have that subtle energy running within your physical construct. We are not just this external carnal cage. We have some emotional uh, anchors within us. We have some purpose, passion. You need to tap into your emotional energy, emotional domain, and you will definitely. Everybody knows their why. Everybody knows their why. It's the how that matters. How you translate your why into action driven, how action driven plans, how you translate
I
your
love
why.
that. It's the why that motivates you, but you have to have a how in
Right.
order to
So
make it work.
that's what I try to help people to discover in their personal transformation and personal mastery journey. Apart from my software engineering projects, that happens, that keeps happening day in and day out.
Love it.
But these are three areas that I'm focusing on. And I'm also working on my personal transformation app. Of course, it's still in the first stage, which will cover all these topics, all the ecosystems, frameworks, all my research work in the last 9 years. I started doing my research at the age of 18, in all these aspects. So
All right. So,
all
what's the best way for them to reach you? If somebody wants to learn more about you, your presence is primarily on LinkedIn, which we are
that's
live
right.
on right now. But if somebody wants to reach out, they can obviously click that button or they can copy and paste that's streaming. But what's the best way for them to reach you? What's your favorite way?
Yeah, the two most important modes of communication, of course, is one is the LinkedIn profile, my professional profile, and the second is the contact form, which is there on my blog. I definitely answer all my messages through these two modes. The reason for me not being on other platforms is that I was there on other platforms, but somehow they did not serve my purpose, or rather, I was not able to serve my purpose through them. So LinkedIn is definitely working for me. It's a great traction
LinkedIn's
for me.
amazing, isn't it? I mean, it's an untapped, like that's how we met. That's how I
That's
reached
how
out
we
to
met
you.
exactly.
I love LinkedIn, and I love the fact that people are a little bit intimidated by LinkedIn, but I want to encourage you all to get on there. I
Absolutely.
didn't know Chitra beforehand, and I reached out because I saw her profile and thought, how amazing! I want someone like her on the show. And so you can get business if you do it right. I actually teach a class on this. I'll have to do it again. You don't want to use LinkedIn like Facebook; it's a different world. But if you're
Totally.
respectful and engaging, and you can meet wonderful people like
Right.
Chitra
And
Lele,
you,
Lele,
and you.
Miss Lele. Thank you so much for being on the show. You're awesome. I appreciate
Thank you so
you.
much.
Please reach out to her. I tagged her. Go to LinkedIn. You can follow. You can click on that link below. But she's got amazing insights, and I want the rest of the world to see that. So thank you for being
Thank
on
you
the
so
show.
much. And
You were awesome.
you're doing a great job. It's transformative in tone and impact. And I wish you all the very best, my friend. Thank you so much for having
Thank
me.
you. I
And
appreciate you. We got to have you back on soon.
Definitely. And a big thanks to our audience. Thank you so much,
All
dear
right.
friends.
Thank you guys so much. Have a good one. We'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.